And 1089 AM, Talk Radio.
Ground control to Major Tom.
We've been expecting you, Mr. Boyd.
His is the worst voice you will ever hear.
Will he offer me his teeth?
The Tommy Boyd Show will teach you nothing. Nothing.
Always read the label.
Nothing but iniquity and wickedness.
If you really bug me, then I'll say goodbye.
You know, down the centuries, common men and women have often owed a great debt to one army or another. It might be the soldiers of Christ, or it might be the men and women who laid down their lives fighting a just war so that we can think and speak and worship in freedom. But in 100 years' time, when historians look back on the late 20th century, which army will they say we owe our freedom to, our security, our happiness, the food we feed our children, the heat that protects us, the warmth, the stability? Who is out there fighting for us today, now, as we speak? And there are tens of thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of these men, for it usually is men. You don't get many women doing it. But today, we ought to get down on our knees and give thanks to that army of IT operators, information technology experts. You can spot them because as men, they usually wear corduroys and often have a pen in the top pocket of their shirt. They do carry a briefcase, and it's often a reinforced briefcase because from time to time they carry around with them tools of the trade and spare parts for, well, computers. These are the men who are making the future. We don't celebrate them. We don't even notice them. Let's right that wrong between now and 4:45. Let's all of us, wherever we are, recognize the sacrifice that these men are making so that our children's futures are secure. They truly are the warriors of fortune. Free call 0500 1053 89. For one thing, they do something that I couldn't do. I could never do it. I couldn't fix a computer. I couldn't sort out a program which is jammed or stalled. I wouldn't have a clue how to upload something, how to offload something, how to update part of a computer. These are people who have to back off a computer, for crying out loud. Me, if it doesn't work, I polish the screen and then I call up a hotline number. It's usually 0891, but there on the other end is somebody who might be a bit tired in his voice, but he'll fix it for me. And the price that I pay is what? Calls will be charged at premium rate, yes, and also a mild kind of derision and dismissiveness in his voice when he realises that he's talking to somebody who simply isn't as clever as he is. Well, I'm not. These guys are fantastic. These guys, if you are IT, call now. And sit back and enjoy our praise. We want to pat you on the back. We want to buy you a beer. Free call 0500 1053 89. They're not only good with machines, they're good with people. Because the only time private people and business people call out the IT army is when the machines have gone down on them and they're panicking. They're at their worst. They have visions of their business failing. They have visions of not being able to get on the internet this evening and have a look at some of those very interesting pictures. And that's no evening. That's no business. And so they call. And so these boys come out and they do the business. They reassure and they fix. These guys are fantastic. Let's celebrate them. Let's make sure they know what we think of them. The future is theirs. If you've ever seen Star Trek, that Enterprise, that was built by IT people. I'm Tommy Boyd, non-IT. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening. I IT, information technology, it's fantastic, but not nearly as fantastic as the men who fix it, the experts. Andy calls from Northampton. Andy, you're on Talk Radio.
Oh, hi, Tommy.
Andy.
Yeah. Hello?
Oh, you're IT, aren't you?
Yes. I'm one of the people who come out and fix your computers.
Fantastic. That's really wonderful, Andy. I was hoping that one of you interesting IT people would call.
Oh, it's nice for someone to actually turn around for once and say thank you.
Well, I know. How does it feel?
It feels nice to be thanked for once, because usually customers, they never bother to thank you, but if you do something wrong, then they'll tear you to bits.
Exactly.
It's not fair. I do my best to help people.
It must be hell.
It is at times.
And what would happen without you guys?
People would get very, very upset, and their computers would stop working and they would lose their jobs.
What was the last problem you went out and fixed?
I went out and fixed email server for the court service.
What? Are you saying that the whole legal system might have ground to a halt if you hadn't been there with your soldering iron?
They might have had a few problems.
They might?
More than likely, yes.
How did you get into it?
Because I've been interested in computers for years.
Wonderful.
I enjoy it. It's nice when you do a good job and you can walk out the door and feel they're up and happy and they're working again. And it's nice when someone turns around and says thank you.
Really?
Yeah, it's good.
Great.
Okay, thanks, Tommy. I just want to say thank you, and on behalf of all the people who are probably out there driving, listening to me now, who do the same job, who don't get thanked often enough.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, take care, Tommy.
Bye, Andy.
Bye.
These men are heroes. These men are rich in imagination and valour. Didn't his voice, his very demeanour, sing with it? And here we are, grinding them down, deriding them, ridiculing them. These people live a life alone, facing an enormous challenge, which is fixing your goddamn machine. And they do it well. Thank you, Andy. I hope that's helped. Roy calls from Essex. You're on Talk Radio. Roy, good afternoon.
Hello, Tommy. How are you?
Roy, I'm well.
Tommy, I'm getting on a bit. I'm 50, new to computers. 2 years ago, first time I ever started to touch one. I just want to thank some people up in Humberside, the UFPC Computer Club. It's a non-profit making thing aimed for people, getting on, 45 plus. Absolutely fabulous. You can ring them every night, and they only, it's only national call rates. Brilliant people. Absolutely super. I'll leave the telephone... Hello?
Hello?
I'll leave the telephone number with your switchboard if anybody wants it. But they are absolutely great. I've got myself into some real messes and, pick the phone call up and they'll talk me through it. Super people.
Roy, thanks for your call. The free call 0500 10 53 89. We're celebrating not IT, but the men who man it. Aaron calls from Carshalton. Aaron, you're on Talk Radio. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Boyd. We speak again. I've got a major problem. The caller before last, IT people are boring. They're so boring as a person. They're just computer mad. Their whole attitude is complete boring, isn't it? I mean, that guy couldn't even have a conversation with me, could he?
Not like you.
Well, I can have a conversation, Mr. Boyd. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you sure can.
But it's boring, though, isn't it?
But you're on the outside looking in, Aaron.
Well, I used to deal with when our system used to crash, and it was like, okay, we'll deal with you in a moment.
Yeah.
No enthusiasm, no spur, no spontaneousness. It's okay.
Not like you.
Like a computer.
Yeah. Not like you.
They act like they work, don't they?
Yes.
It's just thought I'd put a point across, that was all.
Well, it's fantastic of you to call, Aaron.
Well, I'm glad you're impressed.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. That's exactly the sort of attitude that dogs these poor men, these poor dog-eared men. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Let me climb the mountain of rotting corpses and be the bugler who issues the clarion call. 'Neath the bloody unfurled banner of IT. The future belongs to these men, and I want a piece of it, even if it's a crumb from their table. D calls from London. D, you're on Talk Radio. We're celebrating IT men.
Well, I have got a word processor. It broke down. It was very clearly that it wasn't printing out properly. It took 3 IT men to fix it. Now, I don't think that's such a wonderful thing. I don't think they're so wonderful if they can't do that. It was a very simple thing, but it took 3 different visits.
You say it was simple. What was it?
Well, the fact that you could see that the printer wasn't printing out the type properly. It was all grey and fuzzy.
Yeah, well, that was the end result, but what was the cause?
The cause, I don't know.
Ah!
I don't know. Exactly. I mean, we are
What do you mean exactly?
Well, we're very dependent on them, but that doesn't make them gods. That doesn't make them perfect.
If you don't know what the problem was, how can you say that the problem should easily have been fixed?
Well, it's not a very complex machine from what I could see.
Well, why couldn't you fix it yourself then?
Well, I can't because I'm dependent on IT men. But I think, it's an overstatement to say what they're so wonderful and they're kind of gods and they should be kind of, they're not...
Did you give it a bang?
No.
No? Did you switch it off and switch it on again?
No, I mean, I'm not saying that I...
Did you switch the machine off and switch it on again?
Yes, I did everything I possibly could.
Did you give it a wipe?
Yes, I did.
I give it a wipe usually. And did you wiggle the wires at the back?
Right, maybe I forgot to do that. Maybe that was the problem.
I'm asking you whether it's in the handbook, you give the wires a wiggle.
Right.
At the back, don't you?
Uh-huh.
That really?
Yeah.
Did you do that?
Well, I think I must have done. This was some time ago.
Did you call them out under guarantee or did you slip them a tenner?
No, I had to renew a guarantee in order to get someone to come out and fix it.
But you didn't slip them a tenner?
No. Maybe that's why. Right. So that's how IT men work, is it? That's what makes them so good at their job.
Everybody who comes out to your house works.
Right, they do work. I mean, yeah, they do a good job. I mean, I won't buy a full PC because they are in a position where you are totally dependent on the IT man. If your machine goes wrong, there's nothing you can do about it. All you can do is to phone up somebody.
Well,
that terrifies me.
I'm going to let you put this to an IT man who's called up. Mark is an IT engineer and he's in Manchester. Mark, hello.
Hello, Tommy, yeah.
Your proud profession has just had a bit of a slap from D in London.
Yeah.
I don't know what you have to say about that.
Well, you pay for what you get, Tommy, basically. We're paid for our expertise in fixing computers, basically. We know the workings of a computer. We're paid to know the workings of a computer. If that lady's I don't know what she does for a living. She sounds like a teacher, actually.
Are you a teacher, D?
No, I'm not.
Right, well, yeah, basically you pay for what you get. I've just pulled over. If your computer goes wrong, you don't know how to fix it, you either buy a book. It's called, there's a few books out for PC maintenance, or you call the shop you got it from, or if you've got a service contract, you send me out and we'll fix it for you. And we get paid very well for that privilege.
What are you on?
We don't rely on tips.
Well, what are you on?
What, drugs?
I was thinking of money, really. I don't think IT people do drugs.
Well, I'm on a fair living. I don't like to bag. Tommy, 3 years ago, I used to be a labourer on building sites, earning...
Did you really?
£12,000 a year, something like that. Ridiculous amount of money. And then I took a CTAC course. 2 years later.
You're a real success story, man.
Thank you, sir.
And hey, on behalf of everybody who can't fix their machines, thanks.
Thank you.
Well,
yeah.
I started on the helpline. I'm worked up to. I'm on the road fixing PCs for IBM.
Free call 0500 1053 89. We're celebrating the IT man. IT men everywhere. It could be that your life has not yet been kissed by their influence. But it will. And soon you will come to know why we were the first to say amen to them and thank you. Thank you for the great work that you do and the spirit that you bring. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Central scrutinizer. It is my responsibility to enforce all the laws. Haven't been passed yet.
It's his responsibility to enforce the laws that haven't been passed yet. In case you were wondering. Tom's on the line from Birmingham. Tom, we're saying hello and thank you to IT people. A, for being brilliant, and B, for being such a shaft of light in our lives.
Nope.
No?
No.
Which bit?
I just hate IT. I hate IT.
Oh, wait a minute. How old are you?
I'm 13.
Oh, well, you're talking about IT as a subject. At school?
Yeah, and our IT teacher.
Yeah.
She happens to be the most boring person in the world.
Oh, well, yeah. But, I mean, you know, you're supposed to hate every subject on the curriculum, aren't you?
Well, not really.
Yes, you are.
Music's my favourite.
Yeah, but you don't like that much.
Yeah, I do.
Creep.
I'm not a creep.
I mean, the only reason you go to school is to find out what life's going to be like, which is, you know, tedious and boring.
Very boring.
At the hands of tyrants. Boring tyrants. That's what adult life's like.
Hmm.
You know, so you can't judge IT from what it's like in the schoolroom.
Well, really, if you'd come to our school, right, which I wouldn't really think you'd like to, you'd know how boring this is. Our teacher, she's just really weird, and she's got the worst voice ever, and she teaches nothing but boring stuff.
Have you got a PC at home?
I have.
Has it gone wrong? Has it gone wrong yet?
No.
No?
No.
Well, what will you do when it does? Or when it jams?
Probably be quite pleased.
Or if it says that you've tried to perform an illegal operation? Uh-oh! Like that.
Oh, no, I haven't done that.
Oh, you will. You will.
Only a few times.
Yeah, you will. And it'll jam.
Yeah, and then we'll have to get some boring person out, right? We've had that when we got the computer.
There you are, there you are.
No, do you know what game he wanted to give me? I asked for a free... He goes, do you want a free game?
Yeah.
I said, okay, then.
Yeah.
He gave me Master Chess.
Fantastic.
You can't get anything worse than Master Chess.
Oh, yes, you can.
What can you get worse than Master Chess?
You can get a scanner and not know how to lift a graphic image and upload it onto your website. Do you know how to do that?
That's actually a good point.
You don't, do you?
No,
No.
I haven't got a clue.
Nor do I. Thanks for your call, Tom. Free call 0500 10 53 89. So if you know how to get a graphic image, either on bitmap or GIF, okay, which I've stored it, all right, on the scanner, which, by the way, the drop-down list doesn't have an Internet Explorer option. If you know how to upload that onto an Explorer, whether you have to HTML it before you do that, or whether if it goes through File Transfer Protocol, FTP, that will automatically HTML it. And if you've done that successfully, how do you know? Because then when you go to actually log it onto your website, okay, by getting up your website manager and editor, all right, and then HTMLing image source equals, all right, but you only get a negative picture with a cross through it on your website. Yeah, see? Sandy calls from Surrey. Sandy, you're on Talk Radio. Sandy, hi. Is that Sandy?
Yes, it is.
I beg your pardon.
Hello.
I was just about to say how technologically gifted I am.
Well, I was just about to say I had no idea you were such a techie. I mean, I'm a techie, and I had no idea what you were just talking about.
Good. That's all. That proves it then, doesn't it? I'm a proper techie. Just I can't
now watch it.
What?
Now be careful. I'm just calling to say, number one, all IT people are not men, obviously, and that we're not boring either.
No.
I mean, you know, there is the odd occasion where that will happen. And may I say that when you were talking to that earlier gentleman who was perhaps not as exciting as most, neither were you. You were not your exciting self, and so you weren't putting the callers at ease, and so of course they weren't going to be exciting either.
But listen.
What?
Excuse me.
Yes.
If you call somebody to fix your computer or your system,
yes,
whatever, whether it's audio or it might be information, whatever, okay?
Yes.
If you want a comedian, you'd call Butlins.
That's quite true. But what you do have to have is somebody, now I'm not a techie, and I'm not somebody who comes out and actually fixes the computer itself. I'm more of a software person and not with PCs, the sort of mid-range. And what we have to do is go and talk to the people and find out what exactly the problem is. And once you find out, they don't tell you the whole story. So you have to be a people person to sort of try and get the story out of them.
Of course. And you can't humiliate them either.
Oh, no, that would be the absolute worst thing to do.
Because you know that they've tried to fix it themselves, and that's part of the problem.
Well, yes,
Always.
usually it is. You always tell them to turn
yeah.
it off and turn it back on, but they do it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew that. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, Tommy, we're not all boring.
You, Sandy, couldn't conceivably be boring.
Oh, you're very sweet.
But, you know, even if you were, like I said before, I mean, and some IT people are a bit boring.
Yeah.
Aren't they?
Well, all of us are.
Well, a lot of them are very boring. Actually.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, they're almost, you know, as robotic as their machines, some of them, aren't they?
Sometimes.
Be honest.
Well, sometimes.
You know. But that's what we want them for.
Yes. My daughter Olivia would like to say hello. No, she's changed her mind.
Way to go, Sandy. Thank you for your call.
Thanks, Tommy.
Free call. Can you speak Hatamala?
I can't really, no.
You can't do Hatamala?
No, I'm very ignorant where it comes to PCs and internet, I'm afraid.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, in that case then, rather than saying goodbye, I will say open brackets, forward oblique, Hatamala, close brackets.
Do not compute.
Free call 0500 1053 89. It means end of communication, doesn't it? Doesn't it? So how do I get an original image from the scanner onto my website then? Do I need a Hutmatul tag if I'm FTPing it? And how do I know if it's successfully uploaded? Which at least will leave me knowing that downloading is the problem. See? Andrew calls from West London. Andrew.
Hello, Tommy. How are you?
I'm well. Welcome to Talk Radio.
Thank you very much. It's a con.
What?
It's a con. I've been doing it for 18 months for the BBC for my sins.
Have you?
Yeah. And it's a bit like a doctor. Everyone's in awe because, you have a little bit more knowledge than they do and they think you're going to make it better.
Yeah.
But when you don't know what to do, you make it up. And you push a button that someone else wouldn't push and it doesn't actually matter. It must be something else then. It's all a con.
Really?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
So the procedures that you go through when you're trying to rectify what may not even be a real fault...
It's a show. It's semantics.
You've got your fingers crossed, haven't you, behind your back?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The times they go, can you sort this out? Management call me and say, this doesn't go. Oh, right, okay. You take an educated guess.
9 times out of 10 you do fix it, don't you?
Yeah.
And you do charge, don't you?
No, it's all done for love.
Exactly. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. But hopefully we're not too boring.
No.
But some of them are. And the best way to get round an IT guy is to give them a bag of nachos.
Can you imagine a room full of IT people and BBC people together?
Oh, sends shivers down my spine.
It does a bit, doesn't it?
It's beyond comparison, really, Tommy. The sheer hell and nightmare of it is...
All the Beavis and Butthead style laughing that must have gone on.
Well, I'm not going to say any names or anything, but a colleague of mine who took over me, because I've moved over to digital now, digital TV and all that palaver.
Marvellous.
It was doing it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I had absolutely no experience of IT whatsoever and applied for a job as an IT management trainee. Never done bugger all with IT. He came to me and said, well, what should I say? I said, well, say you know C, say you know this, say you know that.
Yes.
So, okay, fine. She got the blooming job. £35,000 a year. And she doesn't know her arm from her elbow.
Do you think I could get away with it? Because I know 1 or 2 phrases.
You can. It's bluff. It's just knowing a little bit more than anybody else and just looking like you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And not being afraid to push that button.
Andrew, thank you for your call. Gareth calls now from Bolton. Gareth, you're on Talk Radio. Good afternoon.
Tommy.
Gareth.
Well, I'm studying IT at school and I think it's top.
It's the business, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the future.
Yep. Because the person who was on before, I forgot his name, and he said his IT teacher was boring, but mine's really good.
It helps, doesn't it?
Pardon?
It helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if your teacher's good, then you probably take more of an interest into it.
You see, what middle-aged and crumbly people don't realise, Gareth, is that you've got to be up in these skills if you're going to stand a chance.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
And one other thing as well, I was on the internet once and something happened to my computer, and before I knew what to do with it, I actually phoned these IT people up and they managed to tell me what to do over the phone.
They do it down the phone? They do it down the phone?
Yeah. I think that's really hard because you won't be able to see what the actual computer's like.
Yeah. And people say that, traditional academic skills are in decline, but that's not true, is it?
No.
What's 8 sevens?
Pardon?
Exactly. Free call 0500 1053 89. John calls from Belfast. You're on Talk Radio. John.
Good afternoon, Tommy.
Good afternoon, John.
Yes, you could get into this act so you could, because you were blinding us with science there.
Yeah.
Actually, it's an old Crumbly speaking, Tommy.
It is, isn't it?
Yes, and actually I want to know what happened to the IT person on, not last Saturday, but the Saturday before, which was September the 26th, if I'm right.
What went down?
The computer of a famous lottery company.
All right.
For 2 hours, Tommy, you could not get through the lottery. There was several cases in Belfast. I don't know whether the whole of the UK was affected, but it must have cost them thousands of pounds. I've seen nothing in the way of apology or anything else since. Hello?
Yeah, what is it you actually want, John? Somebody to grovel?
No, I want to know where was the IT person?
Yes.
Should have had that fixed in a lot quicker time than that.
Have you ever been inside a computer, John?
No.
Have you ever seen one?
Oh, yes, I've got a laptop, actually, Tommy, what I've fiddled about with now and again.
You got a laptop that you foddle about?
Fiddle about.
You didn't say fiddle, you said foddle.
Fiddle
You're putting this accent on, aren't you? You don't really come from Belfast.
I do, honestly.
No, you don't.
Sure, I've spoken to you before, Tommy.
Yes?
I've spoken to you before.
A laptop and you foddle with it?
You actually complimented on me on the brogue.
I know, but you're having a lot of trouble with your vowel sounds here. Now, come on.
But, Tommy,
I do the same thing when I go to America, you know. I exaggerate my Englishness. And you're just like, you come on the radio and you've got to be extremely Belfast, haven't you?
No, honestly, Tom, I'm speaking to you absolutely naturally. No put on at all.
Anyway.
You're changing the subject, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not here to answer for the IT person. It might not have been an IT person. It could have been a criminal. It could have been a broadcast fault. In any case, if you had any idea the size and the scope, the sheer enormity of the technology that must be involved in some lottery computer, not that I care about the lottery. You should be ashamed of yourself doing the lottery. You, an Irishman!
I'm not only talking about me,
pouring all that money into the Royal Opera House.
Actually, Tommy...
What are they going to say about that in the Falls Road, man?
Well, here, hold on. I actually got 5 numbers up in February there and got £1,250.
Did you?
Yes. So I'm laughing all the way to the bank, Tommy.
Free call 0500 1053 89. You bought quite a bit of drink with that, didn't you?
Not an ounce, Tommy. Not an ounce, Tommy.
I don't know if we believe you. Oh, and we're able to help out an earlier caller who had an IT problem with the printer. Chris has called to say that Dee's printer was switched to grayscale instead of colour on the printer configuration, which means, as is usually the case, the user, is a twit. Incapable. Can't read the handbook. Has to call out the IT person. Must be very difficult not to look over your glasses, over your National Health Service type glasses at these people and say, you twit, for calling me out, when that was all it was. Alan's on the line from Lancashire. Alan, good afternoon.
Hello?
IT people, aren't they fantastic?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, I think they're fantastic.
IT?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I'd like to say that I don't think it's very boring.
No.
Brilliant.
You're in IT, are you?
Yeah, I've just qualified to be a teacher and I think it's brilliant.
Yes. And all these people who say that your communication skills are poor.
Yeah.
What do they know?
They know nothing.
They're nothing, do they?
Yeah.
The people who say you have no personality.
Yeah.
You have, haven't you?
Sorry?
Exactly. Have a great life.
Okay.
Stuart calls from Crawley. Stuart, you're on Talk Radio.
Hi.
IT.
Yes. I can solve your problem.
Oh, right, yes.
What's happening is that you've uploaded the HTML file but not the image. It sounds like, anyway.
Oh, right. But do I have to actually encode HTML myself onto the graphic image, or is that automatically done when I file it as a GIF?
No, you save the file.
Yes.
And then in your HTML...
GIF or bitmap, does it matter?
GIF, I think.
GIF better, okay.
JPEG as well, that'd be.
JPEG I've got, okay, right. Any one of those?
Yep.
Okay.
And then you can program the HTML. Heard you mention image source equals.
Yes, that's over on the website, yes.
That's right.
Yes.
And you upload the page, and then you upload the image.
Where do I locate the uploading options?
You do it by FTP.
Okay, so if I download an FTP, which I have, which is Windows 95, of course, compatible, all right, where do I locate the options for that upload?
You will have to contact your internet provider and ask them to provide you with a password and account name to FTPT.
Right. So I better phone somebody else.
Well, yeah. Obviously, whoever you've got the internet service with, you phone them up and say, I've got an account with some web space.
Oh, right.
Can you tell me the FTP number and user and log on?
So you pass me on to somebody else?
Yeah, well, I can't solve that.
No, you are IT, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it shows. Very authentic. Neil calls from Basingstoke. You're on Talk Radio. Neil.
Hello, I should really ring you on your angry hour, I think, but
Why is
I'm an
that,
IT person, and the reason I'm ringing is because I'm fed up with people basically messing up their computers and expecting us to sort them out. They think it's our problem.
Yeah.
They sit there loading on bouncing sheep screensavers and God knows what, all useless things.
Yeah.
And basically, well, computers calculate things at millions of instructions a second.
Marvellous.
They ask it to do one simple thing, and when it breaks, they moan.
Yeah.
And then they call us out, and we have to drive all over the country.
Yeah.
And it's always them.
Yeah.
Not the computers at all.
Oh.
So that's my moan.
Twits, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, yeah, basically. Why do they load all this rubbish on?
I know. Nutcases.
Yeah. Keep it simple programs, and they won't have any problems.
Anyway, ciao.
Yep. Cheers. Yep. I must get on.
Okay. Yep, me
Another
too.
computer broken.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-y, byes. It's nearly 22, it's just turned 20 to 5, and just ahead of today's transport issue, all next week, we're playing, now that's what I call English, with IKEA. You could win...
Experimental road markings ahead.
Tommy Boyds, Street Beat Symphony.
Street Beat Symphony with DHL.
The world's #1 international express carrier.
Don't forget to subscribe and like. Comment too if you wish. Even slap your legs and make a purchase from Ann Summers. But don't do nothing.